Hello. Okay, I'm going to talk today about mystic favors. It just came out on Friday. I'm a little remiss, a little late. But anyway, I really like this piece. It's very interesting. It's part of the Saint Teresa of Avila ballet that I'm writing. It is, let me think, it is based on an intro. So I must insist that if you listen to it, which we're going to do here in just a second, that you listen to this other piece first, because the motives for mystic favors came from this other piece. So anyway, let me play it just for a second. We're going to look at some Logic Pro, and I want to talk about how I thought about creating it. And it's one of 7 pieces that is being written for a ballet. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to actually play, here we go, the other song I was talking about. It's called Roots Live. If you were to go look, you know, on Apple Music or streaming services for Strider QED, you'll see a bunch of pieces that have castles in them. That's all part of this ballet. But there's this other piece called Roots Live, but this is actually the intro. Listen again. Let me start over. Oh, here it's fine. It's kind of funny, electric guitar and everything. The other piece is completely different. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. And this is interesting. So if you were to listen to this piece, my rambling here, all the stuff I'm saying, that's from the book. I'm not just making that shit up. Okay, here we go with the second motive. Third. Okay, like I said, I must insist. So let me see if I can start over. Okay, it's starting over. Okay, now I'm going to play the other piece. So there it is. So it's all major now, and it's I think it's a couple of violins and oboe. I don't remember. I'll have to look, but we're going to look. So I'm going to take you now. So let's go and look at the Logic profile. So let me see if I can do this. There we are. And it's not playing from there, like I said. I'm actually playing this in a streaming service. But we'll listen to the Logic profile here in just a second. In fact, here, let me do that. Let me come out. So here I am again, Strider QED. The song is Mystic Favors. It's out everywhere today. Get it while it's hot. Let me stop it here. So it's funny. I love it. Okay, and let me take you in here. I hope everything's working. I try so hard to do these things. Here is the Logic profile. So I will play this. Let me see. Let's see. I think I can. There it is. So you hear the other motives. And if you've watched some of my lives about the creation of this piece, it was very interesting. It was very blocky. I took those motives. This was originally 4 measure blocks that just, it's very interesting. Anyway, let me shut up. So like I said, it came from that Roots Live. So really, I must insist that if you listen to this, that you go listen to Roots Live. It's very interesting. I took those motives, and you could actually see here in the Logic Pro. Let me take you back in here for just a second. So if you look back here at the beginning, down here, you'll see here's classic electric piano stuff here. Watch, let me just play one. Let me see if I can. That's that's literally one of the motives. This is actually wave files that are in the background of that rock song. So that's where that came from. And if I'm sure I could find stuff in here. Let me see if this one is. That's just me on the piano saying, what the hell was I, what was I playing? Da, 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 the electric guitar intro. So saying I need notes for it. I just played it on my guitar. So that's me entering it there. And then let's see. Yeah, so then so now that you've heard it there, even though I played it for you, so there it is. Sort of orchestrated. And like I said, it's made major, which is interesting because to me, rock music isn't, it's pentatonic. The guitar piece that I took the motives from, it really to me isn't major or minor. It's pentatonic, right? You can't find a third in there to save your life. But and so then you hear me, like I said, it was very blocky at the beginning, and then I get a melody going here in the violin. And then I like this sort of, watch here. I like this. There, I like that. That's a very, classic, but I like it with letting the other instruments handle the transition and the cadence, so to speak. Let me bring you back out to me again here. So this is part of the interior castle. It's fairly long. It's part of a ballet I'm writing. 7 pieces. I have 2 more to write, and incidental music. There's music around it. Like I said, so this one was interesting because of the motives coming from that rock song. So if you listen to it, like I said, listen to Roots live, and it's funny. Let me see. So here, I think the second motive. Here it is, or the third one. Yes. Remember? Down, da, 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 down, and the guitar. So, yeah. And I have a couple of lives where I talk about, I think, the creation process in this, where you see it be blocky, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do with it, talking about my work on it, and how I approached it and thought of it. So I took the blocks and the melody, once I got started to get some melody, then the melody would move off into the other, it would get orchestrated, it would get moved into the other pieces, either as intro or accompaniment, or then I would say, oh, I need to harmonize on this, and, stuff like that. So very interesting. I like to talk about this, that I saw a guy at the, I thought I was going to be cool. There, what was I? I saw a guy talking at the Lensic about creation. He was saying, every time I have a creative thought, I think it's going to be the last one I ever have. And that's because I think that it's different every time. Every piece is different. This one was very, I hate to say it, mathematical or whatever. I took the motives. I'm saying, let me do the retrograde. I mean, I'm being very, I'm not just, banging on the piano or whatever. And then later I listen to it, so don't think that I just do that, and just say, there, it's done. I listen and say, no, okay, now I didn't like the retrograde, let me change it, let me do this, blah, blah, blah. There was some stuff I talked about in this piece where, anyway, back to the guy, because it's different every time. So the creation process is different every time, so there is no method. So you of course you think, you're like, I don't know how I did this, I don't even know what happened. So this one was very interesting, like I said, move stuff around, kind of mathematical in its creation. I'm an old school composition person who speaks very quickly. So when I have no formal composition training, I'm a guitarist, just a rock and roll guitarist. I started writing music pencil to paper, so, like in music school, so as assignments, So that's very different than what I do now, or what someone using DAWs, or Lord knows. How long have I been talking? 24 minutes. I don't know when I started. Oh my goodness, I think I haven't even been talking 10 minutes. So like I said, I was just making something, and I was like, Einstein has a great thing where he says relativity is, if you're having a lot of fun, time goes very quickly. But if you're suffering and in pain, time goes very slowly. That's relativity. Anyway, every time I go live, it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I've been on for like a half hour, and it's been 35 seconds. So I don't know. Let me play it again. Let me go back and let me do the Roots live thing. I want to play the Roots live because it's just, to me, it's, if nothing else, it's funny. But and this was written before I had any idea to do the interior castle. And then I took this and made it sound live, added, all this sort of other stuff to it. I don't know if you know this, but like Benny and the Jets was in a live song. They just made it. They felt like it had that. So I added that in here. And like I said, this is the intro, where in the book, they're trying to get into the castle. So they're looking for the gate into the castle. She talks about that. And so in here, they're saying, find the gate, find the gate. There, she found the most beautiful crystal. And so really, that isn't made up. That's from the book. In the seventh greatest splendor. But now, and so like if you read the book, if you read the Interior Castle, if you go start reading it, it's like reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I say you have to put on your Tibetan Book of the Dead hat. You have to, and she even will discuss this. She doesn't mean literally, so she'll be like, these evil spirits accosted me, and what she means is like, she's speaking psychologically. I was trying to focus and on something, and these things kept distracting me, so you have to sort of put on your Tibetan Book of the Dead, and think very metaphorically, very abstractly, and ponder on what she says. Anyway, it's an interesting book. I read it. I've never read it cover to cover, but I read a lot of it, and that's what inspired me. And the night I did Roots Live, and decided I was going to make this. And then even now, so as I write each mansion, I go, reread that mansion and see, like, for St. Peter's Nets, or for Interior Trials, or for Humility. I go read each mansion and say, well, what is it trying to say to me? What am I getting from that? So, like I said, here's the rock intro with me saying. And there, you can hear me in the background saying, find the gate. And there is no gate. That's funny. Every time I hear that, I have to laugh, because I remember recording that, and I was very sincere. There is no gate. There is no damn gate. Okay, anyway. So then that became, that's the LogicPro. Let me take you back. You can look at it. I guess I'll let you look at the end and hear the end. I never do the end. Oh, look at this. You can see where it's like I pulled down stuff. So let's see that. Let me take you in here. Let me play the end. I'm very anti-cadence, and I gave a great cadence here at the end. Yeah, like I said, big cadence at the end. And then if you were to go listen to my stuff, and I didn't realize this till after the fact, but I'm anti-cadence. But what was I going to say? Oh, I don't even know how that mixes. I hope that mix is okay. I try and get the audio right here. It's not like this is about music or anything. So anyway, I like to look at myself. I was talking about that. I have to learn to close that or something, because otherwise I sit there and look at. I watch myself like, oh my goodness. Anywho. Mystic Favors. It's an interesting piece. Like I said, there's probably a better mix on the streaming services. Nice little cadence there at the end. I still have a problem with so when I write, like I said, I'm anti-cadence. But in this one, I still, like I said, it was kind of mathematical. And at the end, I was trying to sort of summarize. I'll do that thing, like if you're writing literature. Let me think. What else do I want to say about it? I don't know. Let me think. That's about it. It started on the guitar like that, came out of the piece very sincere. If you're watching and you do ballet, I need someone to choreograph this. I need someone to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't have the time. I'm very busy. But now I see why I like watching myself. Let me see, how long have I been doing this? Not very long, 15 minutes. Well, there it is. That's the live on Mystic Favors, out now all over all live streaming services. I'm going to take you out. Let me see. I am going to look at I'm going to look just for a second because I want to transfer you. Let me see. Okay, there I am. No, that's the wrong thing. Don't want to look at that one. I want to look. There we go. Okay, let me take you here and see if this one is. That's the Magic Theater. That is not a picture. That is a room. So I will play you off, go in there, say goodbye. I hope this was good. Should I play you off with that? Let's see, we'll take you from the end of this right here. There is no game.